Okay. Uh, so research shows 75% of mental health practitioners end up with emotional exhaustion. Emotional exhaustion and burnout can negatively affect both mental health and job satisfaction. So today's presentation is really focused on how we can strengthen the resiliency that can ultimately result in overall positive well-being and prevention of the burnout. Next slide, please. So resilience is an individual's ability to adapt and thrive in the face of adversity. Like when I see my own clinical journey as a counselor and then later as an educator, anytime when I had professional challenges, I always try to reflect on what motivated me to be in this profession. So these are the two clips, and I will share this presentation with you. Dr. Roberts can email this to you, but these two clips show how, and this was a study done where they showed if someone who is in a losing circuit of the brain, if they can somehow be supported and taste their first win, that increases their probability for wins in the future. So when I reflect on my own career, I always was passionate about college readiness and helping high school students, particularly middle school students, to get on the track where they are not only college ready from a content perspective, but also from a psychological well-being perspective. Next slide, please. So nature's biggest gift to us is our body. In this presentation, I'm going to share research-based strategies I found helpful in enhancing the well-being in my life. Please use this presentation as a case study. Hopefully, you will get ideas and examples to enhance well-being in your life by strengthening resiliency. Knowing your story and writing out who we want to be locks in that commitment, and this allows our behavior to change. So this is an outline for the presentation today. I will start with practices, values, techniques, and then we will end with a brief activity. Next slide, please. Just like moving to an advanced levels while playing video games, our skills improve. Similarly, life's challenges present us an opportunity to improve skills in our life. As Ernest Hemingway have said, word breaks everyone, and afterwards many are stronger at the broken places. Next slide, please. Research have shown 5 different components to strengthen our resiliency. So physical, emotional, social, spiritual, and creativity. Physical exercises help us to experience the neurochemical change that seems to make us more optimistic and more open to connecting with others. Different format of exercises impact the brain and mental health in a slightly different way. For example, lifting heavy weights, which really engages the core and muscles in core, talk to our brain in a way that tend to produce euphoria and calms down anxiety. It's a neurofeedback loop that when we brace our core, resulting in a strong muscular contraction, our brain reads those signals from the body, resulting in an empowering state of mind. We can start a physical movement experiencing physically depressed, anxious, and demoralized, but after 15 minutes, our body and brain feels like we are a joy. One skill we need to say is that I can't always control my inner experiences, but I can make a choice right now that I know my future self will be grateful for. That reflects one of the core values. I'm going to learn how to tolerate this inner experience. So we select types of movement that is personally meaningful and empowering. So on the physical domain, I try to engage in some workout, running, and sometimes it's very tough to schedule a full workout. You can always download an app called Tabata, and these are high intensity 4-minute workouts. For the emotional and social aspects, spending time with friends, children, checking in with colleagues, volunteering at social clubs, city councils. For the spiritual aspects of the resiliency, meditation, praying, yoga, fasting, reading scriptures, discussing existential issues with both teenagers, mentors, so different age groups have different perspectives. And the last aspect is creativity. So free writing on average 30 minutes is a great way to enhance creativity. Travel, for me, like practicing flute, learning languages. If you have a very busy schedule, you can just download like Duolingo, and even like just like 5 minutes a day can really impact those parts of the brain which can then open up for neuroplasticity. Next slide, please. As Friedrich Nietzsche said, he who has a why can bear almost anyhow. It is very important to reflect on our core values which guide our life as they give us the direction, energy, and courage. It's not what other people value you for or the virtues, it's that thing that you long for. These are the 5 core values in my life. In the next few slides, I will go over how these enhance well being in my life. Next slide, please. Even though our brain prioritizes instant gratification over long-term gains, but training my brain for delayed gratification have helped me to secure resources for my emergencies. Evolutionary instant gratification makes sense, but not as a modern human being. Even though financial freedom is not the primary purpose to adopt such a minimalist lifestyle, but that is product of such a lifestyle. And financial freedom also makes it easier to implement other values in my life. Early in my life, I learned the benefits of concentrated effort. The Pareto principle holds that 80% of the results come from 20% of the effort. So 120% of effort with 100% concentration have helped me to accomplish a lot by spending limited time and energy. I plan my work in 35-minute cycles using Pomodoro technique. The Pomodoro technique is a time management method developed by Francisco Cirillo in the late 1980s. Using this method, I break my workday into 35-minute chunks separated by 5 minutes break. After about 4 Pomodoros, I take a longer break, about 15 to 20 minutes. During the breaks, I mainly reflect on the work I accomplished in the last 35 minutes, engage in some physical activity like stretching, walking up and down the stairs, meditation, and most importantly, drinking some water. Dehydration causes us to believe that we need to eat when we really need is water. So drinking water at regular intervals makes us feel full for longer amount of time and reduce our calorie intake apart from many other benefits of drinking water. Gradually, with this practice of training our mind to focus on one task, help improve our concentration and reduce attention residue. Attention residue is when unrelated thoughts intrude while performing a task. Those lingering thoughts use up important cognitive processing power that can't be devoted to the task we are working on. In a 10-year McKinsey study, top executives reported being 5 times more productive while working in the states of flow. I love being in the states of flow and completely immerse myself in activities that help me rejuvenate physically, emotionally, and spiritually. I often tell my high school students that magic only happens in Disney movies. If we are not taking intentional steps to stop automatic negative thoughts, it will be very tough to overcome those. So I used cold water showers as a strategy to overcome ants. So if I woke up with a negative thought, I earned myself a 5-minute cold water shower. If all one is doing is working without recovery, it will possibly lead to depletion of innate genius. So for me, massages, acupuncture, personal counseling, meditation, sleeps are all part of deep recovery cycle. Next part, please. Vitality for me is the optimal environment for fostering inner mechanisms of body, including gut health, cellular level, resulting in high energy levels. If one is not taking care of themselves, then they can't take care of anybody else. Combination of good fitness, with time management and concentrated effort using Pomodoro technique helps me to slow down, to focus and enjoy different aspects of my life. It also gives me enough time for continued personal and professional growth. Next slide, please. I educate and empower individuals on how to advocate and reach out to different organizations working in the area of the cause they are needing help with. So just like Jamie Escalante from the mathematics teacher from the movie Stand and Deliver, I try to empower individuals to be strong advocate and mentor them so that they can have access to higher education. I'm also obsessed about living an environmentally friendly lifestyle. If we love nature so much, how can we do anything to hurt it? Clean environment could be the best gift for the future generation. One way I infuse social justice in teaching is by making an effort to use textbooks through open sources when available. Next slide, please. Human and animal brain prefers immediate gratification. Such actions help humans to survive like any other animal, but operating with such a paradigm is not conducive in the modern society. As our brains are wired to do that, we have to rewire our brain to teach it to follow perseverance. Most of the times, unhealthy or bad habits give immediate rewards, and good habits are exactly the opposite. To create a balance, I see the long-term cost of bad habits in the present moment. For example, long-term cost of eating fast food every day. Such a visualization helped me to feel the pain. Similarly, I visualize the long-term rewards of good habits in the present moment. With every goal, I create a plan to break down to the minor details, putting both the short-term and long-term deadlines. After I create a tentative plan, I then refocus on the process, stay in the moment, and occasionally check on the goals to make sure I am moving in the right direction. I believe that small daily steps, when done consistently over time, leads to the stunning results. As Steve Martin advised, be so good that they can't ignore you. I see perseverance as a core part of my day-to-day life. Next slide, please. I define willpower as almost delusional in my life. Just like perseverance, I almost deny myself considering the alternate option of being a pessimist. Research have shown high levels of optimism are generally associated with better immune functioning and protect health during the heightened time of stress. The other side of being optimistic have been a little draining as while dealing with difficult stressors. The choice opted by pessimists in such difficult scenarios is by disengaging, but I tend to deny myself even as an option. So as I shared earlier, just like I try to miss, I love where I am today, but I always feel I could do a little bit more. So having the 1% daily improvement goal just keeps me on the track. Next slide, please. So these are some of the strategies to strengthen willpower. Just like how we work out to strengthen our physically, I engage in following practices to strengthen the willpower. Studies have shown 3 days of cold, brief exposure changes the level of cardiolipin in the mitochondrial cell membrane. Cardiolipin helps mitochondria to work better and allows it to make better electricity. Brown fat, which is mainly in the upper spine, gets more stronger and bigger. It has more mitochondria, and rest of the mitochondria throughout the body also shifts in the level of cardiolipin. So we are getting more mitochondria for the brown fat and better mitochondria everywhere else. And that mitochondria, which cannot generate enough heat, will get replaced. So deep breathing is one of the ways to strengthen the willpower. Now, the research have shown for the deep breathing to work and result in a state change, we have to take at least 6 deep breaths. Sometimes we try 1 or 2 times and then we may not see the result. because research have shown at least 6 times that's when the state change. And as I shared a little bit earlier about the cold water showers and hydration, means staying hydrated is a really important for our well-being. And as I shared earlier, using Pomodoro technique really helps me to stay hydrated throughout the day. Meditation, I try to practice 1 hour in the morning and 1 hour before sleeping. Then knowing your body. So these days there are a lot of tools. Dr. Andrew Huberman have created a strategy called non-sleep deep rest. In Indian culture, it is called Kayosarga, Yoga Nidra, body scan. So all those are different methods where we can get more awareness of our bodies. Once a year, I try to do 7 to 10 days of water fast. So for 8 or 9 days, I just don't eat anything, just water. And that really helps me to, so to say, take care of all the inner organs, and also helps to create cellular level changes, because that's when the process of autophagy takes, so to say, kills all the cells which are not conducive for the body. Then at the end of the day, I just try to forgive everything what happened in the past, and the new day just starts with a new aspiration. Next slide, please. Fatigue in general defined as the result of lack of energy or motivation that can be physical, mental, or both. Sleeping can reduce our feeling of fatigue. As I shared, even if some nights we don't get enough sleep, the key is waking up enthusiastically. And most of the times when we are working, just check with ourselves. Just ask, am I making my work harder than actually it is? For example, while sitting on an office chair, just check, am I using the muscles which have nothing to do with the work I'm doing? For example, like while sitting on the chair, if your leg muscles are tensed or relaxed. So just checking and creating more awareness about the physical movements, staying most of the day in a relaxed posture, that really helps. So research have shown eyes consume 1/4 of our nervous energy. So while, let's say, if you are riding as a passenger, if you have an option, you can try to relax your eyes, close the eyes when you don't need it, because that really helps to conserve our energy. Work as much as possible in comfortable posture, and measure the accomplishment by the energy levels at the end of the day. I know in the Western societies, particularly after Industrial Revolution, um, if you are energized at the end of the day, that is indirectly or directly correlated to not being productive at the work. But if we are enjoying the life to the fullest and engaging in the activities which are completely aligned with our personal values, most of the times that work gives us so much joy that we are even more energized at the end of the day as compared to the beginning or in the morning. Okay, last slide. So this is a brief activity. So as we discussed about the 5 different components of resiliency, if you can take just 2 minutes to type your chat in the response, or just on a piece of paper, what are the activities you engage in for these 5 different components. And if you, at this point, if you have any questions, feel free to ask that too.
Any questions for Dr. Jain? I do have one question. There was on one of the slides, there was a bullet point, guilty pleasures. I don't think you said much about that. What's that one about? That sounds interesting.
So for example, like I love cruises. So even though cruises are not really good for the environment, but that is a sort of a guilty pleasure for me, that okay, how can we take care of or engage in the activities for healing that could not be as environmentally friendly.
I see. That sounds nice. Thank you.
Welcome.
Okay. What's helpful about this presentation is I think it does provide some ideas outside of what students would typically think of, and things that are on quite a spectrum of very easy to do, even as you're just sitting in your desk right now. Okay.
And most of these are right from the research. So before implementing any strategy, I try to do a thorough literature review, read as much as possible, try to see how the protocol was implemented in those different research studies. And once I make up the mind to actually try the technique, then I put 100% effort to use the similar protocol, and I can tweak it as needed after the initial reaction. But initially, when I implement, I try to stick to whatever the research have shown the best possible way.
Very good. Okay.